Okay, tight.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I said, just trying to come up with the intro and just
Right.
trying to get the ball rolling with what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It was definitely like the intro. You come in with whatever we gotta say, introduce ourselves. This is Sound, co-host Luck. Where we are in the music industry. What we do for ourselves as not necessarily brands, but what we do in the music industry.
Yeah.
So produce, make beats, fucking the entertainment, streaming, podcast, shit like that. Even bringing a little bit of gaming into it.
Yeah.
Kind of just let the audience know, hey, this is what we do. Fucking pretty much average ass Joes. Just bring it to you from an average place. We're not fucking high up there in the industry where
exactly.
we're not.
Yeah.
Meeting these fucking people on a daily basis.
Not yet. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, not yet. But just a source bringing you dope shit, dope content, and real shit.
Yeah, definitely. So I just want to like kind of break it down. The cast and crew was created, and the name was created by myself, one of my best friends named Devonte Clit, and my homie Jordan Urbaez. We're just sitting, having a good conversation, and we're like, yo, what would be a dope name to kind of bring people together?
Yeah.
A close-knit circle of people that just enjoy music and just entertainment in general. It doesn't have to be music. It could just be everyday topics.
Right.
And we're just sitting in a group chat, That's just how shit gets done nowadays, dude.
Facts.
Like group chat.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I found this.
Yeah.
So we're just discussing and yeah, man, the homies kind of came together and the cast and crew. And that kind of spiraled, and I immediately started talking with one of my designers, Garrett Malone. Dope ass dude. I've been working with him for like 3+ years.
Word.
Like the dude made my logo, the
your
sound.
actual sound logo too, right?
You know what I mean? And he's
really
worked
tough,
yeah.
tough logo.
He's worked with a lot of people. So like even companies outside of like gaming,
music, entertainment, and
music
stuff like
and stuff.
that, right?
The dude is like killing it right now. He got a scholarship to the University of Arts somewhere in Philly.
Okay.
And that's the dude's literally writing on scholarship to do design and all that stuff.
Exactly. Hey, do what you love.
Yes.
Remember that shit. Do what you love.
Exactly. So right now that's what he's doing. But anyways, came to him with the idea. We worked on a couple variations of the logo, and what you see now is the end product.
Right.
I'm kind of running right now hats, maybe shirts in the future.
Right.
But yeah, man, essentially that's what we kind of want to bring, That's what we want to bring to the people.
Yeah. And yeah, just like you said, man, it's the idea behind it itself is just bringing that generalized content of entertainment, music to the people, and it's legit like no shit like regular conversations that you would have with your boys, even arguments, debates on certain topics going back and forth, but just on a structured mainstream of it. And we like I said, we had these conversations every single day.
Dude,
like,
every
yo,
fucking day, man.
who's
We've
this?
been talking about this shit for a while, dog.
Exactly. We bring up a topic, you're like, yeah, I feel like this about that, or I feel like that about that, and it just goes into him. It's like, damn,
absolutely.
Why not, make this an actual thing? Talk about real life topics, real life situations that people are actually wondering about, and that shit's real.
I think, and like we were just discussing like before, we got the camera rolling. How many times have we been somewhere with an aunt, with an uncle, with friends, with the homies in the locker room, talking about just, or the girls, the ladies out there having conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
And you got that one individual who really starts spitting deep shit.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
You're like, yo, like, and just imagine, I'm always thinking about that all the time. And I talked to, a gentleman back at work a couple days ago in his 60s, man.
Mm-hmm.
Brought something very important to me that really rung to me.
Word.
And it was just one of those moments where I'm like, dude, what if this guy would have been mic'd up? Like, that's all. Like, you know how many moments we have, like, whether it's your mom, your dad, anybody's talking to you, and you're like, bro, can I just mic this motherfucker so the whole world can get this? Because this is stuff that...
This is gems. You're dropping real
bro,
gems right
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, yo, and I'm just going to touch on it because I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear.
Right.
he's telling me he plays the bass. He does music. He's been doing music for so long. You know, I'm a big gaming nerd. You know, I love my fucking video games. You produce, you do your thing, and that's what you do.
Definitely.
We tried getting you on the sticks a couple times.
It
doesn't last that long.
You know, I try, man. You know,
it doesn't last that long because he's so focused on his music, which is dope. Yeah. Me, I'm just so like inconsistent sometimes with what I want to do. You know, I get behind the lens. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Music. Gaming and stuff, but he brought up the fact that he used to play basketball and football when he was younger, and he says, you know, that was fun, that was dope, you know, but he wishes he would have put more time into music because that's something that till this day he's still doing. He's not playing football or basketball. He can't. He's in his 60s. So when I saw that, I'm like, dude, we have to kick this podcast. We've been talking about this for like you and myself over a year.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 6 months really started to like put it all together, but I've been talking to my homies, man, like 3-4 years. And I'm gonna be real with you. The world is blowing up right now. Podcast is like
it's a thing.
It's a thing. And I'm just like I wish, and only God knows.
I have so much to say. Like
if only God knew that, like God knows. The day I die, he's gonna tell everybody, like, listen, he's been thinking about this. He just never got to it.
This was on his mental for a while.
But hey man, we're here.
Exactly, yo. And you just here to, you know, drop gems as well,
dude.
That's how it goes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So yeah, I think one of the most important things is just following your dreams and just following your heart. You know,
absolutely,
I think that will take you far and beyond anything. But yeah, so there's been a topic that we've wanted to talk about for a while, and for me, it's been very touchy in the industry, and that's the way music is credited, right? Like how people get credit in records, and a lot of people don't understand the evolution. A lot of people haven't done their research, and that's fine. We're no experts.
No,
but
never
we will
claim to be.
No, definitely. But we will, you know, from the things that we've been following throughout the years, the way that's done. You know, one of the biggest artists in the past year and a half got into, you know, a couple elbows with Meek Mill. You know, we're talking about Drake. About how exactly he was credited, whether he had a ghostwriter or not. And I just wanted to ask you exactly, like, what you know, what do you think, and what that whole situation was about, and how we can clarify that path, because a lot of people don't know. They don't know. They're not aware.
Exactly. And it's good to know, because then you get that non-biased opinion about the artist's music and how it's, you know, how it's put out there. You know, you hear, you know, Drake or whoever it is, but maybe on a track, and you're like, I know some people are thinking in the back of their head, like, you know, who had a play in this, or like who actually, you know, who put pen to pad for this, and is he just in the booth, you know, just laying the track? But it's in the music industry, like, it's definitely teamwork. Like, nobody's out here solo dolo and that shit, like, from the jump. I mean, there might be some, you know, people that are just, you know, fucking just in their own corner, just doing their own thing. But when you get to such a level of, you know, not necessarily popularity, but like of stature, there's things that need to be put in places, like pieces that need to be put together to make such great music and such, you know, great artistry. And in my opinion, like you said, you know, put that kind of to bed, because people just don't understand that, you know, somebody's gonna be credited on someone else's stuff.
Obviously,
99.9% of the time.
All the time,
and
man.
that's just facts, and that's just how it is.
No, yeah, and you know, with the whole Drake thing, man, like, it was going on, and I was literally sitting back, dude. This was in 2015. I was here, you know what I was doing, and then I was out of the country for a little bit, but I got a moment to go up to the Landmark Music Festival up in DC. This is exactly when all this stuff was going on. And, you know, I'm just sitting back, just understanding, like, okay, here we have an artist who's been killing it for, like, the last, at that time, right? Like, since 2008. And then this was 2015. And all these allegations of him having a ghostwriter. And it's like, a lot of people don't know. And I'm going to talk about that. The way people go in the studio nowadays is very different than it was back couple years back, right?
Right.
It was so about like, listen, I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
No one speak to me. No one, But I guarantee you that there's a lot of moments, man. I don't care who it was, Biggie, Easy. I mean, come on, like we
Right,
know who
right.
wrote for him, Dr.
Right.
Dre, all these other rappers, uh, Run DMC.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be a moment where these kids were writing and someone said something like, "Hey,
Right.
man, like I think you should do this and
Exactly.
that." Right?
Exactly.
Input, right?
Yeah.
That is a form of credit,
Exactly.
and that could be credited,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So whether someone wants to admit it or not,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's the artist's decision. You know how many records right now are out, or even back in the day? I mean, I think more producers and writers are getting more credibility,
Mm-hmm.
but how many people have like gone and on and we don't find out that, yeah, they were part of a record,
Right.
but they were just never credited. And what we're gonna knock them and say, well, yeah, okay, cool, bro. Like, you weren't really part of that, but you're saying you are.
You were there. You were in the room, but you didn't really. You wasn't
Right.
with us shooting in the gym.
Right.
To
So
say less.
exactly.
Right,
So
right,
if I'm like writing a record, dude, and you're like, you look over and you're like, yo, bro, I think you should flip this,
right,
and
right,
that.
right.
That's credit. That's input, man.
Exactly. That's
Now,
input.
if the artist doesn't want to, by all means, I guess, cool.
It doesn't have to.
So with this whole Drake thing, man, like
Right.
I am a firm believer, and I'll say this on camera. I don't care on record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think he gets help. I just think he has a great team,
Right.
awesome people around him,
Exactly.
who may have given him an input in something in his records.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell me that.
But
He gets together.
Like I said, I would like to speak to Drake's point again. Like the talent level, he's literally in his own box. Like
Dude.
there's his box, and then there's people around him. Like
Mhm.
nobody is ever gonna enter his box. Like
No.
a lot of people try, and his style, his mannerisms, the way he delivers music, the way he takes his time with music, and the
Yeah.
people that he employs to do his
Right,
music. You think 40 Boy Wonder, like these people around him makes him that much more of a superhero, in the eyes of the media itself, and he's
Absolutely.
just creating some dope ass content. It's like
Yeah.
it's hard to touch him.
Yeah.
It's in today's world too.
And just for the record,
Yeah.
right? We're fans of everybody, dude.
Exactly.
We're
Oh,
just
yeah.
speaking right now on the most touching thing that I remember, that I can recall.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say, Drake, J. Cole,
J.
Big
Cole,
Sean,
Travis,
Kendrick, Travis, all these rappers.
Ye,
We can be here all day. You know what I'm saying? With a list. All great guys. I would defend them just as I'm talking about Drake specifically right now.
Most definitely.
But with everything going on, it's just like, it's crazy. People don't know the way things are credited, and everybody does it differently. Even Nicki right now, there's been a lot of controversy.
Exactly.
Some subliminal shots with Cardi B and her, and it's fine.
That's
This
the
ain't
game. That's the
drama.
game.
This is like, yo,
That's the game. That's how it's
we're
played.
writing. Are you writing?
Exactly.
I'm writing. Are you writing? And it's just back and forth of like, we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cardi B, we know she gets help, and she's been very clear about it. So why is it being such a controversial thing? And that's just people trying to start drama.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But yeah, man, Drake and his whole crew is dope.
Yeah.
Records are being credited very differently than they were back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But before, it was different. It was like, man, if you didn't do this, you weren't a real rapper. You weren't a real lyricist. You weren't hip hop. And to me, like, even the music industry right now is at a point where I think it's becoming more accepting the sound that's out right now, right?
Exactly.
All this trap shit.
The new ways, the trap drums, trap keys. Exactly.
I mean,
and the thing about it, coming from a producer standpoint, like, it's so easy to create, bro.
simple.
I can tell you how many trap drums or trap beats I've made, and then they're just sitting in a fucking file, like,
in the vault.
just in the vault, because they're just that easy to make.
Yeah.
But it's the new wave, and they're bouncy, they're wavy, it's hip, is what gets the kids going. They can, if you get a dope, trap beat, you could literally, sing the fucking the intro to Elmo's World in that
Straight
bitch, and
up,
that shit
man.
will still slap.
It'll
Like,
slap, yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and that's just the way of music is, and it's evolution of music. You can't knock it, because back when, back in the 80s, early 80s, 90s, coming up, when they was, skitty boo bopping and shit like that, you look at that now and you're like, damn, like, that's that's classic, but
Yeah.
would you say that's like real now? It's like corny,
It is,
But
right?
like the younger generation that time was like, yo, that job's whack, Now I'm gonna start talking about this. I'm gonna start talking about
Exactly.
drugs. I'm gonna start talking about bling bling. I'm gonna start talking. And it's just the evolution, and you just have to, as people that love music and people that love the craft and the art, you gotta accept it, and you may not you may not blast Lil Pump in your car, all day long, but you gotta accept where music is going and where it's come from, and
Absolutely.
it's just out of respect.
Yeah, and I love what you brought up, the evolution of music, right? One of my favorite timelines to always put together, just to remind myself, like, you got to be accepting of what's going on, right? And J. Cole just had an awesome interview with Angie Martinez where he was talking about, at first he didn't get it, but now he does.
Right.
And my whole thing is, doing your research and understanding the history of hip hop, the way it was, man. All it was disco. It was
Right.
the DJ hitting, spinning some records with an MC, the guy pumping up the DJ. That's all it was, right? Then someone was like, we're just gonna do a little poetry, a little bit of rhymes, and then you look at the evolution of that, and then when DMC and them boys took it over, everybody was like, it's not disco, that's not hip hop.
Right.
Then DMC took it. They ran with it.
Exactly. Made it their own.
Ice-T comes out, and everybody's like, wait, who's this guy?
Right.
And the sound was like this OG gangster rap, right?
Exactly.
Everybody was like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
So it goes on to where, as hip-hop evolves, the culture evolves, the sound. Because all it is to me is just hip-hop as a whole, and then all this new stuff is just a little branch off.
Exactly. It's just,
It's just a little root.
Exactly. Little forks in the road. You got one road, and here's a turn.
That's all it is.
It's
dude.
different.
That's all.
Because before I was reading something that said before people even know what trap was, like, that shit was called like down south, like like South dirty South beats.
Exactly. And I'm from Georgia, goddamn it. I know.
Exactly. That shit was called like dirty South beats. And like no, I don't know if anyone knew that, but everybody's like, trap. That's a trap beat. Like, that literally started from dirty South beats. You got the fucking the Little Johns, those keys actually came from that genre, and they took those little pieces and made it their own, and that's what you kind of have today in that sense. And like even like you could even credit Lil Wayne on putting the rock edge to the hip hop factor as well, where these young cats, you got the Uzi, you got the Lil Sky, you got the Juice WRLD, where they're turning that. It's still a hip hoppy beat. You can still bounce to it, but it's got that rock effect now. They're talking about real dark stuff, but on still the same a hip hop record.
It is, man. It is.
And it's real.
It's super. Like, it's been fun. It's been fun this past year. What these kids are doing to me, I'm enjoying it, man. Like, at the end of the day, some of the records get away from like the lyrical content being what we want, right? Because like as hip hop fans, that's really what put all this together for us,
right?
And that's what that's where it all comes from. But bro, like the sounds, like you cannot listen to a record today and not get a vibe, not get a mood, man. There's no fucking way, man.
It's
like
impossible.
you just being, even the old heads are like starting to like starting to feel what they're doing, and it's just a movement, man. It's a phase, you know.
Exactly. And even some regional changes where where the sound is just completely different from where it was is where I'm from, like New York. Like that shit does not, the New York shit you hear today is not the New York shit you heard like 10 years ago. Like, it's completely different. You got Tekashi now, which is like a juiced out DMX. Like, he's just wilding, just doing his own thing.
Straight up.
You got the A Boogie with the the melodies and the shit like that. Nobody's really keeping that. That Source New York. I gotta do that. That one track kind of melody kind of thing. And that's cool too, because you branch out. Like A$AP Rocky, a lot of people, like, for the longest, even though he said it, thought ASAP was a down south dude. Like the way that he he delivered his sound and shit like that. A lot of people thought he was like from down south. It's like, nah, this nigga's from Harlem. Like this nigga's from fucking New York. Like
word.
It's real. So and that like I said, that's just another evolution of hip hop. Like bits and pieces. You borrow from here, from there, create your own sound. Make different moves because. Who wants it as much as the old heads we talk about like, dog, that's not hip hop, that's not. Who really wants to hear the same shit for years? Like just continue. It needs to change. It's inevitable that it changes.
Yeah, and I think we're in a good spot, man. Like I mentioned earlier, it's becoming more accepting. They're understanding the kids. The kids are doing good, man. Hip hop is in an awesome state, and this year alone. Mm-hmm. You read something earlier and we like kind of paused on our tracks like, wait, best like hip hop year of I don't know how long. Like I wouldn't say that, but I definitely wouldn't say that we're not
in a good space.
At a good space. Like we are, man. Like some of them, oh my God, we could sit here all day talk about some of the dopest albums that have came out, man. One of my favorite, Nipsey Hussle, bro. That Victory Lap. He just, I don't know, man.
But he's always been able to, just bring a good work of music to you. It's like, and it's while it's not surprising, it's dope. It's like,
it is.
Man, like, like nobody was like crazy anticipating it, but when it's dropped, it could still compete with
100%.
the hot shit that's going up and down on the scale. So
and that West Coast sound, it's always refreshing, especially when it comes from someone from there. And then obviously the voice and just the
energy, like the chill ass energy, like
man.
Nipsey definitely on that Victory Lap did his thing on that.
He really did. Right now today, I mean, this is as fresh as it gets. Eminem just dropped. We haven't heard. We haven't gotten too much into it. And I don't want to start talking like we
dissecting it. Right. Exactly.
Like we
I heard a few snippets of I guess what's the mainstream one where everybody's talking about is the Kamikaze. The name drops and stuff. I heard some stuff was said, but I gotta analyze it and dissect it for myself. Get the real lyrical content out of it. But I heard it was pretty good. Too,
and you know how I
the rest
how
of the
I
album.
do. You know how I do, bro. When it comes, I'm surprised I even listened to it. What happened was I got up, I looked at my phone. Twitter's going ham, and Eminem is trending, bro. Yeah. Like number one
like
on
what?
Twitter. I'm like, what's going on?
I think my first sight of it was with the LeBron tweet. That was the only thing I saw.
LeBron,
like,
man.
oh shit,
he got on it early.
What's going on?
Definitely, and it's like, dude, Scorpion came out.
Yeah.
You, Devonte, my homie Jordan. Everybody was like mad. Cause you know me, man. I'm a Drake fan. I love J. Cole. I love Kendrick, and those guys. Not to knock on anybody else, but those guys, man. When they drop their music, I don't want to feel pressured
to listen to
by everybody.
Society. Exactly.
Of like, oh, you got to go listen to this record. I like to just approach my favorite bodies of work and my favorite artists as just a walk in the park and just like I just ran into $20, bro. Just picked it up and just kept walking.
This is nice.
Type shit. Like you know what I mean? Like
I definitely feel you.
So I picked up on it when I wanted. Actually, we were in the car and you're like, "Yo, bro, you're listening to this right now." So I was impressed. And I think this was like 2 weeks after the album dropped.
Yeah.
And I strayed away, like I said in the beginning, from what everybody else had to say. I really wanted to
form your own
digest
opinion.
It, of course, dude, because there's a lot of writers. There's a lot of dick writers around here, bro, that just are influenced. And I'm not gonna say that we're experts, like we mentioned. We're not.
Exactly.
We're just your average Joe. We just love
music,
man, and the culture. And I just had to take a moment though, and I think it was for the best. Like I really was able to sit down, and the album is amazing. And it's not to say that anything that came before that wasn't, but my decision with that album was, dude, listen to it whenever you want. Like, don't get hyped. And it was an awesome approach. But this morning, like I said, man, I woke up, Eminem's trending. I'm like, what's this about? I get in the car, plug in the phone, start the album, and I'm just like, Eminem.
Bro.
Well, wait.
Whoa there.
I was surprised. Like, the first few records, man, like I listened to maybe like 4 records, like, honestly, sat down and just listened to them.
Right.
He's got a different sound, and I think it's a sound that we all wanted him to evolve to, but without losing that Eminem, that Slim Shady, that the Eminem we all go to when it comes to that fun, lyrical shit. And I think he delivered. I still want to listen to the rest of it. I know you're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
And we can definitely get into it and talk later.
Most def.
So for sure, dude, for sure.
And I love when art, comes out of nowhere and shit like that. That shit it's just perfect to me. It's like, oh shit, like you still listening to that old shit that you just finished up on. You might have just listened to that last track.
That old shit that came out last week, right?
Last week, because that's another thing we gotta talk about, how fast this shit goes. But
oh my God.
you might be, I won't say old shit, but you might be listening to the last track of Astro World or some shit, and you just look on your phone, social media's popping and shit. Yeah, now you got Eminem. It's just mind blowing how music is and how it's created, and just how it's like, I wouldn't say not let's say shoved down our throats, but like we're so fat with this shit. Like it's like I can't even eat any more of this shit. Like, but it's dope because keep feeding me that shit. No, I love it.
I mean, I would say out of all people who's giving us a diet was Drake. He dropped what was it, Views? No, More Life.
More Life.
Right? And comes back and says, I'll be back next year. I was hurting, man. Yeah. I was hurting. Scorpion's on the way, and it finally came out, and he delivered. But I definitely gotta agree. Like right now, it's a lot, but it's good. It's good music.
Like I said, we're fat. Like we're getting
we're getting spoiled, bro. We're spoiled, and
we're eating this shit up. But it's just like, damn. And then that's when people go into saying, that old shit. Like, yo, that shit literally just dropped like last week. We talked about that old shit.
You know what I'm saying? I had
that old shit, but that's how it is. But like I said, going back, great space, great time in music, great time to enjoy music, and just kind of wait to see, like if this year went like this. Like I can't even like recall sometimes like the years of music of how great they were. Like there's been some dope ass, calendar years of just straight fire music and be like, then you'd be like, next year, like, there's no way next, like, 19 could be better than fucking 18.
Dude,
and you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
It makes me excited,
And talking about, just the surprise drops, man, that Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Bro.
I didn't know what this shit was coming out. No one knew.
I looked this way, I looked that way, and that shit was there.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's how it was.
Dude, and that's a beautiful product. That's a beautiful project.
That was gold. Like,
that was gold, bro.
Probably like, and I like to grade, music based on how many songs I skip. Like I haven't skipped a song on that one yet, so I get that shit an A+.
Dude,
that shit was gold.
Tough.
But with that one, it's like it did for that one. It kind of overshadowed another work of art that I was anticipating as well, and I was like, damn, but this shit right here, this shit's so good. It's like, the only way I could put it is like, you getting like a bowl of cereal or some shit, you're like, damn, all we got is Frosted Flakes. And you look up on the fridge and you got the whole Lucky Charms and shit. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Put this Frosted Flakes away.
Dog.
Eat these Lucky Charms. But yeah, with that what is it called? For Your Love? Or
yeah.
So that was really, really dope, and I think the visuals on it were really lit too. Like
they're it's Jay-Z and Beyonce, and I don't like to just say that like, oh, it's cliche, like, but it almost is, because like what they do as artists, right? Artists, like their artistry is
epic.
It's epic, bro. Yeah. It's so tight, and just jumping on what you said about, dude, this year. Yes, great records, great albums, but bro, you touched on it. Let's talk about just the shadowing, right? The like, before I felt like music was at a space where like there was this respect, and I'm not saying what's been going on is disrespectful, but there's always been that like, yo, hey man, Omari's dropping January 12th. Yeah. All right, well, we were working on this. We were supposed to drop it as well, but so and so is dropping on the 12th. We're gonna have to go a week later, or maybe the next month.
Yeah.
no one cares, dog.
Right.
No one cares.
Trap.
Like right
Yeah.
now, and I don't find it disrespectful. I like the jabs. I like
Right.
the you know they're putting
Like you
themselves in the
got
ring.
that, and here's what I got. Like,
You know what I mean? So it's definitely giving people,
it's healthy
a side.
competition.
Yeah, a side to
It's
pick.
like, damn.
And if not, you can go for both. But dog, like that's going on, and I'm excited. I like that. I like that approach. It's different, man, and it gets everybody like whoa.
Going, like,
You know.
Another slept on one that I think, well, going back to it, was that ASAP Rocky, that Testing album. Like, that was when that whole Drake push debacle was going on. We're not gonna get into too much of that. We'll be here all night.
No,
but
for real.
that's when that whole thing was going down, and like he dropped some fire on that shit.
He did.
And everybody kind of just like, oh shit, this is what's going on now. Like, and
too much of that.
It's sad, but if you do get a chance, go back and listen to that shit. That's got some gold. Rocky always produces. Like,
Yeah.
He never disappoints. I've never heard trash from Rocky. So
right.
Yeah.
And I think people just gotta, honestly, the best way to go about it is you gotta revisit this timeline that we've had this year, because there's a lot, and not just the last 3-4 months, man. It's from the beginning, dude. There's been a lot of drops where somebody dropped something else, or there was some controversy, or this and that. So just giving those artists, those producers, man, the producers, because like we said, dude, this year's the year of the producer, bro. How you feeling, man? How are you feeling, bro? Tell them,
bro.
What's going on,
bro? As a producer, like I'm happy, like, in my space, because the energy that I'm feeding off of, like, other producers, like with the shit that's dropping, they got their own shit, and I'm like, damn, like they're really, and this is not to discredit artists, but they're really creating the artists by giving them some straight fire. Like some people, some people that you would just be like, there's no way you would sound good on the mic, or you would, make some good shit, and you get that dude on the pads or on the keys, and he's chopping samples, and he just like, here, and it's like, god damn, like the beat is fire, like it just makes you like want to fucking move and shit. Man, producers are really doing their thing out there, and it's dope because they're getting the credit for it too. Like a lot of while back, early 2000s and shit, like who really knew producers, like, unless they were like up there, like your Timberlands and shit like that, or Dr. Dre. Like nobody knew. Nobody knew producers. Like now, this day and age, like producers are their own brand, and people want producers.
100%.
Like you got the Metro, like the Metro Boomins, the fucking Take Keith, like
Rhinos, bro.
Hey, bro, I'm telling you, like just the whole 808 Mafia. Like these are actual people. Like them by the shit that they actually do. You're like, I know that, and even their tags. They put their tags out there. Still know, damn, that's a fire beat. When you hear if Young Metro don't, you know some heat's coming after that. Like, dude, it's crazy. What? So and like I said, really, really happy for the producers. That are coming out with the fire. Keep coming with the fire. Keep building that brand. Don't take yourself for granted, because you are the art itself. Like without the beat, the mixing, the mastering, the things like that. Like what really is there is just a voice. Yeah. So
no, I agree, man. The artist, like I always tell you, the artist can be either distracting just to keep that record sitting in the background, or that record can be produced to where like it gives
life to the artist. Most definitely.
And right now, man, you got Ellen Reader. I've told you about that. The homie, shouts out to him. Vinyls, Boy Wonder, that whole OVO crew is dope. Right. And again, I don't want people to be like, yo, that's all they're talking about, Drake. No, it's just we have admirations, man. Exactly. We have people who we admire, who we look up to. Yeah. And it's just an amazing thing right now that producers are getting the love that they deserve. Exactly. And it's not to take away from the artists. There's artists that are producers, Kanye.
Exactly. Cole produces his own shit.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who get behind the board, but just to see producers who actually are making artists, bro. They're making them. They're like putting these records and they're like building records around
Exactly.
these artists,
Yep.
making pockets and cutting and chopping and throwing stuff and taking it out. Like, bro, that's a beautiful thing, and I'm so glad that they're getting that credit.
Exactly.
Like,
It's a good time. Like I said,
man.
musically, it's a great time for everybody. Everybody's in their bag. Everybody's getting that bag. You know,
Ridiculous.
everybody's
man.
getting to it, and it's dope. It's dope to see. Just makes you want to be a part of that shit. Like,
Bro, I'm sitting back like, you're the producer.
Right.
I kind of came a little bit from that. Like, I've wanted to produce. I've worked on a couple of things the last few years or whatever.
Right.
And just seeing you or just seeing other people, it's just like, bro, you just want to be in that space.
Bro.
It's like we always talk about.
Yeah.
Listen, and this is for anybody that's listening to this. That anybody that's sitting out there, like, listen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just, like you always say, I like what you always say, bro. I just want to be a fly on the wall.
Facts, bro.
Right, listen, I was talking to a homie the other day at work,
Yeah.
and his parents actually, and we'll talk offline about this. His parents are like, music managers, like artist managers, and like doing all this crazy stuff.
Word.
And I was telling him, like, bro, I could literally be invited somewhere. And if there's like, listen, you can't bring no phones. You can, okay,
Right.
cool. I'll leave it all. Listen, I'll leave it in my house. Get on a plane.
Bro.
Like, I just
Man,
want to
just
be a
in that
fly on the
energy,
wall,
in
and
that
that's
space,
it, man.
man.
Like, listen, I
that's
won't
dope.
talk about it. I promise to you.
That's on a bucket list of mine. Like, just
Like-
be there, like in that that energy that that everybody has, and just like, damn, like this is what it feels like.
I think that's
It'll
one of the
be-
most important things.
it'll be there.
And again, this year more than ever, I've liked how a lot of producers have came out to say, there's nothing wrong with helping. There's nothing wrong with collaborating and bringing other producers in. Like,
Right.
we all got to eat, man. Let's
Exactly.
all eat together. Like,
Exactly.
what is the matter with just wanting to produce with other people and just trying to make? Because at the end of the day, we're doing this for ourselves. We're doing it for the artists, but we're doing this for the
culture.
fans, for the culture, man.
Bro. It's all for the culture.
There's no,
You gotta, you got it's something you wanna, stamp your name on, even if it's with other people, stamp your name on, I created something great,
dude, straight up.
in this wrinkle in time. I gave, my portion to it. And, it's not, I don't see it as a bad thing working together. Work together, make some fire shit. Like,
Bro.
it's nothing like working together and creating some dope ass shit.
Yo.
Like, it's like you look at that motherfucker, you're like, yo, we just did this shit.
No, for
It's
real.
crazy.
One of the deepest things, man, I've ever heard was, and I can't even tell you verbatim because I don't remember exactly what the words were, but ultimately, someone said that one of the most unfortunate places in the world are like grave sites, right? Because that's where, like, how many people died
Mm-hmm.
and had ideas, had an imagination, or had just wanted to do something and they never got it out there.
Yeah.
Like, just think about how many people, so it's like, bro, living your life and wanting to do the things you want to do, you got to do them, dude.
Absolutely, man.
You have
Absolutely.
to.
Live
Don't let
without
nobody stop you, man.
live without regret, man. Live without regret.
And when I heard that, I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
you'll never know, you'll never know until you try that shit. Until you try and then you fail, because failure is like one of the most important teachers out there. Like, it'll humble you and it'll get you to the right place where you need to be.
Absolutely,
once you
man.
fail on some shit.
Absolutely, dude.
You
Absolutely.
gotta chase those dreams, man. Don't let them just sit there and not doing you any good. Just sitting in your head. Chase them shits.
Dude, I want to talk about a little of what's going on right now in the podcast industry and all the great things that are going on. Obviously there's a lot of different podcasts, right?
Yeah.
There's sports, music, entertainment, news,
right,
all
right.
sorts of stuff. And I listen to podcasts, I really like what's going on. And like I said earlier, dude, like, I wish we would have jumped on this train a little earlier.
Right.
Actually done it, right? We've been talking about it
Mm-hmm.
for a while, and not just with you, but even some of my other friends who aren't here. But man, Elliot Wilson is doing some dope ass stuff. Of course, getting some exclusive
Right.
stuff that it's awesome to see, to learn from too. And then the homie Joe Budden, man. I said this like a month. Well, I'd say like maybe a year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years, dude. This guy is gonna break,
Bruh.
some stuff, and people are gonna be like, damn, really, this is what's going on. Like, this is happening, not just artists.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, this dude just got signed up Spotify.
Spotify, the podcast.
Like, getting some love.
That's dope, man.
Like, he's opening doors, man.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Just put yourself out there, man. That's, you know, he was on that, I forgot the other show that he was on with
Complex.
Was it Complex?
With DJ
Academics and them. Yeah, you know, put himself on that, and then he, you know, and it's all about being yourself too, cause everybody knows Joe Budden, like, he's himself.
That's him,
and that's him.
That's
you know,
him.
Monday through Friday, you know, all day
Monday
long.
through Sunday,
Monday
bro.
through
Get
Sunday.
it right.
Exactly. That's him. You know, all the time. You know, and that his, you know, personality, you know, just brought light to the show where he can, you know, now venture on and, you know, bring his own, you know, personality to his own spot. So.
Yeah, and I love what's going on, man. I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we were sitting down here talking about this. Obviously, our intent here is to just really bring you guys a curated playlist, not of music, but of things, right? Topics.
Right.
Just things that we could talk about every day. We want to do album reviews.
Definitely album reviews.
Definitely that, man.
Definitely.
Music, breaking down
Definitely
records, man. Just talking about, you know, this record, how this was produced.
Mm-hmm. Who's on it, you know.
There's a lot of great things, dog. A lot of great things that I think will come out of this.
Some content's gonna come your way, and it's gonna be fire.
It's gonna be dope, man.
Exactly.
You know, shout out to the homie Devonte, Jordan. I hope you're watching this. And anybody I mentioned, much love. Thanks for tuning in, the cast and crew, man.
Yes, sir.
That's it, guys.
Luck.
Peace.
Signing out.
Simple, bro. That's it, man. That's it.